Have a pleasant day, everyone. For today, we will be learning about assessing learners' understanding of literature, specifically focusing on the qualities of a good reading and text comprehension test, as well as developing objective tests. Now, let us first discuss the qualities of a good reading and text comprehension test. So let us be guided with our lesson objectives. So in designing a reading and text comprehension test, there must be a congruency and consistency of the reading lesson objectives, the teaching learning activities, and the reading assessment test. In terms of assessment, the reading teacher must understand the qualities of a good assessment tool or test so that he or she could prepare a well thought out instrument. To undertake an effective assessment of reading and text comprehension skills, the distinguishing features of tests, measurement, evaluation, and assessment must be clearly distinguished. So now let us define these key terms. First, the test. It is an instrument used to measure specific knowledge, skills, or abilities of learners as they learn reading. For example, the teacher asks learners to answer a 10-item reading comprehension test after a reading test. Another key term is measurement. It is the process of collecting data to determine the extent of learning or performance. For example, scoring 8 out of 10 on a reading comprehension test is a measurement of comprehension skills. Another key term is evaluation. It is the process of interpreting the information collected useful in making decisions about a learner's performance. So basically, evaluation, it is about making judgments about a learner's performance. So for example, the teacher makes a decision that a particular learner's score depicts an instructional level of performance. Also, another key term is assessment. It is the use of written tests, actual performance, observations, and other measures. Now, I'll be discussing the purposes of reading and text comprehension tests. Firstly, to measure the extent of the learner's achievement of the instructional objectives. Secondly, to diagnose the learner's strengths and weaknesses. Thirdly, to monitor learners' progress in learning. Fourthly, to measure aptitude for learning. Fifthly, to evaluate the effectiveness of teaching. Sixthly, to classify or place learners in appropriate reading class. And lastly, in order to determine the readiness for instructional processes. Now let us discuss the qualities of a good test. Firstly, it must have a validity. It is the ability of the test to measure what it intends to assess. To ensure a valid test, it must have content validity, which means that test items are based on the objectives and content of the lessons. Also, it must have face validity, how the test looks like to the reading teachers and the experts. Also, it must have concurrent validity. And lastly, it must have predictive validity. Now, another quality of a good test is reliability. It is the ability of the test to provide consistent or stable information. Another quality of a good test is practicality. It is the ease of constructing the test as well as the ease of administering and scoring it. So for example, objective tests are easier to construct and to score than the essay test. Now let us proceed to another lesson, which is developing objective tests. Now please be guided with our lesson objectives. So now let us discuss the types of objective tests. First, we have the true or false. This test measures the ability of the reader to determine the truth or falsity of the statement presented. So the rules in constructing true or false tests. First, sentences must be simple and declarative, using direct language. Second, statements are absolutely true or false, no qualifications needed. Third, paraphrase the statement and do not leave direct statements from the selection. Fourth, include enough background context, and qualifications when necessary. Fifth, avoid using statements of commands or orders as these are neither true nor false. And lastly, never use qualifiers like always, sometimes, and never. So you can take a look at this example. So another type of objective test is the multiple choice type. A multiple choice test item asks the learner to recognize from a set of choices the best or correct answer to a question. So the question of introducing the item is called STEM. The set of choices that follow includes the distractors and the keyed answer, which is the correct answer. So let us discuss the rules in constructing multiple choice tests. So first, be specific with what is asked with the STEM to make the learners anticipate the correct answer after reading it. Another rule in constructing multiple choice tests is to avoid using grammatical clues like a, which means that expected answers begins with the consonant, or an, which means that expected answers begins with a vowel. Another rule is to make the choices similar in length, tense, number, sentence structure, part of speech, etc. to avoid giving irrelevant clues to the correct answer. Also, another rule is that in constructing the STEM, use more often a direct question and less of the incomplete sentence type of STEM. Now, another rule in constructing multiple choice tests is to arrange responses in a logical order. Now, another type of objective test is fill in the blank. So this type of test asks the learners to supply in the blank the correct answer based on the context suggested by the statement. So the rules in constructing fill in the blank test. First, write clear and specific statements so that there is only one correct answer to fill in the blank. Secondly, keep the number of blanks in a single item reasonable. And lastly, put the blank at the end of the statement to orient the learner on the context. So you can take a look at this example of fill in the blank type of test. Now, another type of objective test is the matching type. This type of test measures the learner's ability to recognize relationships among homogeneous pairs. It has two columns. Column A presents the premises, while column B presents the choices. So the rules in constructing matching type tests include in the directions the basis of the learners to match items and how to match, either to write the letter of their answer or to draw lines. Second, items in column A are numbered consecutively, while items in column B are lettered alphabetically. Third, give more responses in column B than the premises. If there are 10 items as premises, the responses should be letters A to M. Fourth, longer statements are placed on the premises to reduce reading time, and shorter ones are in the responses. And lastly, items to be matched should be homogeneous. So take a look at this example of a matching type test. So that ends my report. Thanks for listening.